Ladies and gentlemen, let's face it. Excuses are the silent killers of dreams. They creep in, they sound so reasonable, they feel so valid, and yet they hold you back from achieving your potential. You see, in life, we all face challenges. We all deal with setbacks, disappointments, and obstacles. But the difference between those who succeed and those who don't is the ability to face those challenges head on, without excuses. Excuses sound like this. I don't have time. I don't have the right connections. I wasn't born with the same advantages. But listen, excuses are the language of the defeated. They don't help you. They don't get you any closer to your goals. In fact, they only bury you deeper in the same place you've always been. When you find yourself making excuses, ask yourself, is this truly the reason I'm not moving forward? Or am I just hiding from the hard work that it will take to get where I want to go? Success is never easy, but that's the beauty of it. Success comes to those who take responsibility for their actions, who understand that the road to achievement is filled with effort, failure, and persistence. It is not about making excuses, but making progress. Let me tell you something. You're going to have to fight the excuses. It's not going to be easy, but it will be worth it. The key is to stop looking for reasons why you can't and start finding reasons why you must. I know people who have faced the most difficult situations, poverty, illness, failure, and yet they managed to rise above it all. Why? Because they chose to kill their excuses. They chose to keep going even when the odds were stacked against them. And here's the truth. The difference between where you are and where you want to be lies in the decisions you make, the habits you form, and the excuses you eliminate. If you want to succeed, you must first make a decision. Are you going to keep holding on to your excuses, or are you going to let them go and take full responsibility for your success? It's time to get serious about your life. No more. I'll do it tomorrow. No more. Maybe next week. No more. I'm too busy. Do it now. Start today. If you want something, you have to get up and go after it. And don't stop until you do. Here's the hard truth. Excuses are easy, but the life you want, that takes discipline, determination, and a relentless refusal to settle for anything less than your very best. So I ask you today, are you ready to kill your excuses? Are you ready to step up and start taking action? If your answer is yes, then I'll tell you this, the world is waiting for you. The success you desire is within reach, but only if you commit to leaving your excuses behind. The time is now. Kill your excuses and embrace the life you were meant to live. Excuses are perhaps the most insidious barriers that stand between you and your true potential. They often appear harmless at first, disguised as justifications or rationalizations. But over time, these small, seemingly innocent excuses build up and create walls that prevent us from moving forward in life. When we make excuses, we give away our power. We take ourselves out of the game before we even have a chance to play. The most dangerous part about excuses is that they often feel so reasonable. They sound logical. They feel comfortable. After all, if we can explain away why we didn't take action, it can seem like we've escaped the burden of responsibility, but in reality, we're only sabotaging ourselves. You see, excuses don't just come in the form of I can't or I don't have time. They're more subtle than that. They can sound like I'm not good enough, I'm too old, I don't have the resources, or it's not the right time. They can be simple words or phrases that at the moment seem to make sense, but in the grand scheme of things, they hold you back from achieving what you are capable of. The problem with excuses is that they breed a mindset of limitation. Once you start believing in your excuses, you stop searching for solutions. Your brain, which is naturally wired to find answers to problems, becomes stifled by the comfortable thought patterns of, it's too hard or I can't do it. You begin to see yourself as a victim of circumstance rather than the creator of your own destiny. And when you adopt that mindset, you lose sight of your own power. Think about it. How many times have you heard someone say, I would love to start my own business, but I don't have enough money? Or I'd exercise more, but I'm just too busy. Or maybe you've said something similar to yourself. I want to write that book. But I don't have the time. Or I can't get ahead in life because I didn't get the right education. We've all heard these excuses before, and we may have even used them ourselves. But here's the hard truth. There are people who, despite having less time, less money, fewer resources, and fewer advantages, are still going out there and making things happen. Why? Because they've learned to stop making excuses. The key to overcoming excuses lies in recognizing them for what they truly are. Nothing more than a fear-based mechanism designed to keep you comfortable in your current situation. Excuses give you an easy way out. They allow you to avoid the discomfort of change. They allow you to remain in the familiar, even if that familiar place is filled with stagnation, frustration, or unfulfilled potential. They let you avoid the uncertainty of taking a risk or stepping into the unknown. But every time you make an excuse, you relinquish your power to improve your life. Let's take the example of, I don't have time. Time is one of those things that when you break it down is actually a choice. Everyone has 24 hours in a day. The key is how you choose to spend those 24 hours. If you want something badly enough, you'll make time for it. We all make time for the things that matter most to us. Whether that's work, family, entertainment, or hobbies, we always find time for the things that hold the greatest priority. So when you say, I don't have time, what you're really saying is that whatever it is you want to do isn't important enough for you to make the necessary sacrifices. The same principle applies to, I don't have enough money. Again, it's easy to say that money's the barrier to success, but that's simply not true. There are countless examples of people who have come from humble beginnings and have built businesses, created wealth, and lived the life they dreamed of. The difference is that these individuals chose to find ways to make it happen. They got creative. They found alternative routes. They didn't sit back and wait for a pile of cash to fall into their lap. They found ways to take small, consistent steps toward their goal, even if those steps were unconventional or difficult. Excuses can also show up in the form of, I'm too old or I'm too young. Age is another construct that we often use to limit ourselves. We think that if we're too old, we're past our prime, or if we're too young, we don't have the experience. But the truth is, there are countless stories of individuals who defy these age excuses. Think about Colonel Sanders, who started KFC at the age of 6. Think about young entrepreneurs who in their early 20s have launched multi-million-dollar businesses. Age is not the problem. Your attitude toward age is the problem. The moment you use your age as an excuse, you're using it as a crutch to avoid the discomfort of pushing forward. The moment you let go of that excuse, you'll realize that age doesn't matter nearly as much as your determination and drive. Then there's the excuse of, I'm not good enough. This is the one that tends to hold people back more than anything else. It's the fear of failure disguised as self-doubt. If you ever find yourself saying, I'm not good enough, what you're really saying is, I'm afraid I won't succeed. But here's the truth, you will fail. Everyone does. Failure is part of the process. It's not the failure that matters. It's how you respond to it. Do you let failure be your excuse for giving up, or do you use it as fuel to keep moving forward? The most successful people aren't the ones who never fail. They're the ones who get up after every failure and keep going. Excuses also show up in the form of, it's not the right time. This is another classic one. We tell ourselves, I'll wait until the economy improves, or I'll start once I get that certification. But here's the thing, waiting for the perfect time to start something is the same as waiting for the stars to align. It's a tactic to delay action. The truth is, the perfect time will never come. If you keep waiting for it, you'll wait your whole life away. The best time to start is always now. The world will never be perfect, and the conditions will never be exactly how you envision them. But if you start now, you'll be further along tomorrow than you are today. What we need to realize is that progress doesn't come from waiting for the right circumstances. Progress comes from making the decision to act no matter how imperfect the conditions are. It comes from pushing through the discomfort of the unknown and being willing to embrace the challenge every step forward. No matter how small brings you closer to your goal, and every excuse you eliminate brings you one step closer to breaking free from the chains that are holding you back. When you stop making excuses, you open the door to possibility. You begin to see that every obstacle is an opportunity in disguise. You begin to see that you are not a victim of your circumstances. You are the creator of your reality. And once you adopt that mindset, you'll stop looking for reasons to stay where you are, and you'll start looking for ways to move forward. Excuses are easy, but progress isn't. It's going to take hard work. It's going to take sacrifice. It's going to take overcoming the fear of failure. But that's where the growth happens. The growth happens when you push through the excuses. The growth happens when you stop looking for reasons why you can't and start looking for reasons why you must, because once you get rid of your excuses, nothing can stand in your way. Success is not a random event. It's a direct result of the decisions you make, the actions you take, and the responsibility you choose to assume for your life. One of the most important realizations you can have is that success doesn't come from outside circumstances or luck. It comes from within. It comes from understanding that you are in control of your outcomes. And that control begins with taking full responsibility for everything that happens in your life. When you take responsibility, you stop blaming other people, situations, or external forces for your failures. You stop making excuses. Instead, you focus on what you can do to change your situation. Taking responsibility means looking at every outcome, whether good or bad, and acknowledging that your actions, your mindset, and your decisions played a part in that outcome. Whether you succeeded or failed, it is up to you to learn from it, adjust, and move forward. Most people unfortunately shy away from responsibility. It's easy to blame others or point to factors outside of our control when things don't go the way we want. But blaming others for your situation is a way to give up your power. When you blame someone or something else, you're essentially saying that you have no control over your own life. You're saying that your happiness, success, and fulfillment are in the hands of someone else or circumstances beyond your control. On the other hand, when you take responsibility, you take back control of your life. You say, no matter what happened, I am in charge of how I react, how I learn, and how I improve. This is a powerful mindset. It's a mindset that allows you to take action instead of remaining passive. It's a mindset that empowers you to shape your own future. Taking responsibility also means being honest with yourself about your weaknesses, your mistakes, and the things you could have done differently. This is not about beating yourself up or feeling guilty. It's about owning your part in your own journey. When you do this, you become aware of the areas where you need to improve, and that awareness gives you the chance to make better decisions in the future. Many people fail because they refuse to take responsibility for their mistakes. They ignore their own shortcomings or rationalize their failures by blaming others. This behavior often leads to repeating the same mistakes over and over again. But when you take responsibility, you can learn from your mistakes. You can adjust your approach and avoid making the same errors in the future. Success is built on a series of small improvements, and each of those improvements comes from taking responsibility for what you can do better. Taking responsibility also means taking ownership of your goals. No one can achieve your dreams for you. It's up to you to set the course, take the necessary steps, and make the sacrifices required if you're waiting for someone else to motivate you or push you toward your goals. You're giving away your power. Motivation is great, but it doesn't last. It's responsibility that drives results. Responsibility means showing up every day, doing the work even when you don't feel like it, and keeping your promises to yourself. Another key part of taking responsibility is understanding that setbacks are a natural part of the journey. Life will never go exactly as planned. You'll face challenges, setbacks, and even failure. But when you take responsibility for your life, you don't let these setbacks define you. Instead, you look at them as opportunities to learn and grow. You take responsibility for the fact that you may not have done things perfectly, but you now know how to approach the situation differently next time. Too many people get stuck in the victim mentality. They believe that circumstances are working against them and that success is only possible for those who are lucky or privileged. But this mindset is disempowering. It keeps people trapped in their current situation, unable to move forward. Taking responsibility means rejecting the victim mindset. It means understanding that your past does not determine your future. It means recognizing that no matter where you start or where you've been, you have the ability to change your life through the choices you make. When you take responsibility, you embrace the idea that you are the architect of your own life. You have the ability to build the future you want, but only if you take responsibility for every decision you make along the way. No one else can do it for you. The good news is that the moment you accept responsibility, you open yourself up to limitless possibilities. You are no longer a passenger in your own life. You are the driver, and when you're in control of the wheel, you can take your life in any direction you choose. Success is not reserved for a select few. It's available to anyone who is willing to take responsibility for their life. The most successful people are those who understand that the power to change their circumstances lies within themselves. They don't wait for the right time or the right conditions. They don't wait for someone else to fix their problems. They take responsibility for their own lives and take action to make things happen. The key takeaway here is simple: success starts with responsibility. If you want to change your life, take full responsibility for where you are right now. Stop blaming others or waiting for something to change. Your future is in your hands, and the first step to creating the life you want is owning it. It's time to stop being passive and start being proactive. Take responsibility for your actions, your choices, and your future. The idea that success is all about timing is one of the most widespread myths in our culture. It's easy to fall into the trap of thinking that there's a perfect moment to start something, a moment when the stars align and everything falls into place. We wait for the right conditions to line up. We wait for the right opportunity, We wait for the ideal circumstances. But in reality, the right time is a concept that rarely exists. And by waiting for it, we only delay our progress. If you want to achieve anything meaningful, you have to act now. The time to start is always today. If you're constantly waiting for the perfect time, you're setting yourself up for a lifetime of waiting. You'll never feel like the time is right because there will always be something that seems to be missing. More knowledge, more experience, more resources. And while it's natural to want to be fully prepared before taking action, the truth is there is no such thing as perfect preparation. There will always be unknowns, risks, and uncertainties. And those are the things that make life exciting and rewarding. The danger in waiting for the right time is that you're giving power to the idea that something external has to happen before you can move forward. You're relying on conditions outside of your control to create the right environment for success. But life doesn't work that way. The world will never stop long enough for you to feel fully ready. The economy may not be booming when you want to start a business, and there may never be a perfect time to go back to school or take on a new challenge. The conditions you're waiting for will come and go, but your opportunity will slip away unless you take action now. This is why it's crucial to realize that waiting for the perfect time is really just an excuse. It's a way to avoid the discomfort of taking action. It's easier to convince yourself that you'll start when things settle down, when you have more money or when you feel more confident. But guess what? You'll never feel 100% ready. You'll always have doubts. You'll always have uncertainties, and there will always be risks involved. But success is built by people who are willing to step into the unknown, take the first step, and deal with the challenges as they come. One of the biggest mistakes people make is overthinking. We get caught up in the analysis looking for every possible way to minimize risk and ensure success. But the truth is, overthinking can paralyze you. You spend all your time worrying about what could go wrong instead of just starting and learning along the way. The best way to overcome overthinking is to act. The moment you take action, the fear starts to dissipate, and you realize that it's not as difficult as you thought it would be. The unknown becomes less intimidating when you start moving through it. There's also a tendency to wait until you feel more motivated or inspired. Many people believe that motivation is the key to success, and they wait for that wave of enthusiasm to push them forward. But motivation is unreliable. It comes and goes, and if you rely solely on motivation, you'll find yourself stuck more often than not. The truth is, discipline and consistency are far more powerful than motivation. Motivation may get you started, but discipline will keep you going. When you're disciplined, you do the work even when you don't feel like it. You show up every day regardless of how motivated you feel, because you know that consistent effort is the key to achieving your goals. Another aspect of waiting for the right time is the tendency to compare your progress to others. We look at people who are already successful and think that they must have had an easier start or the perfect timing on their side. We think that if we had their opportunities, we'd be just as successful. But the truth is, every successful person had to start somewhere. They didn't wait for everything to align perfectly. They took action. Even when the circumstances weren't ideal, they built their success step by step, learning from their mistakes and adjusting their strategies as they went. What you need to realize is that the perfect time to start is not out there somewhere in the future. It's right here, right now. The key to success is to stop waiting and start doing. You don't need everything to be perfect. You don't need to have it all figured out. What you need is the courage to take the first step, no matter how small it may be. Once you take that step, you'll gain momentum, and that momentum will carry you forward. But if you keep waiting for the right time, you'll miss out on the opportunities that are already in front of you. One of the greatest obstacles to getting started is the fear of failure. Many people put off taking action because they're afraid of making mistakes or not succeeding. But failure is not something to be afraid of. It's a part of the process. Every successful person has failed at some point, and they didn't let those failures stop them. They used them as stepping stones, as lessons that help them improve and grow. The fear of failure only holds you back if you let it. Once you realize that failure is simply feedback, you'll be able to move forward with confidence, knowing that every mistake brings you closer to your goal. You need to recognize that time doesn't wait for anyone. Every day you delay is a day you'll never get back. You're not just wasting time, you're also wasting potential. The longer you wait, the more you miss out on the opportunities to learn, grow, and move closer to your goals. The best time to start is not tomorrow or next week, it's today. Don't wait for the perfect conditions. Don't wait for everything to be just right. Just start and trust that the path will unfold as you take action.